Good morning. If y'all are aware of this, Michael Brooks, he passed back in 2020. He would have turned uh, 40 as of yesterday. Um, the Majority Report did a brief show on him, and I want to give my thoughts and my opinion on his passing, what it means to me 3 years later. Michael had a real conceptual understanding of the left. And Michael wanted us to work together and not fight. And he thought that was our weakness, was in infighting over stuff that didn't matter. And he got into that. He would never wavered on the issues, but he was always very clear about the fight, the thing that we face so much worse. One thing I learned from Michael that I always bring forward is that the right wing can give you some things that sound good here and there, but the end wage of it is genocide. And we've seen that with Trump. And I always think about, Rudy Giuliani making all that money, $100,000 a week. Now where is he getting sued for alimony from his wife? He's broke. Other people around Trump that are broke now. You can work for a fast. You can work for these people, but that doesn't mean anything. They're buying you off. You can lose the money as soon as you make it, quickly as you make it. Michael, for me, inspired me. I learned about A. Philip Randolph through him. I learned about Eugene Debs, reason we have a 4-day work week. I learned about, John Wallace, Vice President Roosevelt. I've said it before. He got a white man in 1942 talking about desegregation in 42 or 41, one of those years. Man took off an entire year walking around talking to men, talking to civil rights leaders, talking to union folks. What can be done? What can he do to help? Talking about the two V's, the twin V's, victory at home and victory abroad against fascism. Talking about the women working in the factories to keep their jobs after the war ended, after the men came back. How would I have known those things without Michael Brooks? I am, in a way, you feel bad because we're all lesser as a result of his passing. He had an understanding in regards to the left, in regards to historical information. He talked about the historical thing of New York City, of like how everybody goes back. Talking about is one thing. Do you know why most of your old people are conservative? Because generally the people that survive to old age, they had the resources and things to survive. That's why they're conservative. A bunch of people didn't make it to be 80 or 70. That's why. I didn't understand these things when I was younger. I didn't get these things a few years ago. I think that he was a bright, shining light to many of us who, living through 20 years of war on the basis of a lie, living through Bush, living with Obama and the promises that, some promises that were not made or were failed. And then going into the beginning of Trump, I think that he was a bright shining light. And I do miss sometimes his precise analytical takes on the issues that matter. I miss him. And I want y'all to miss him too. To me, Michael Brooks, he's one of those people. I compare him to Max Blumenthal. I compare him to Abby Martin. He's those people that just are once a generation. And it's made me really respect my elders in regards to Cornel West and Noam Chomsky and others, because if Michael Brooks can die like that, think about our older people who came before us. Bernie Sanders, what he did as far as civil rights, going to jail for black people and the gay community and things like that. If he can he can pass like that. We should really appreciate our most vulnerable. It didn't scare me like I'm gonna die. It scared me in that it made me realize how temporal and fragile life really can be. Sometimes I'm glad people like him didn't get to really have to see through the pandemic. We would have hated to see him get sick. We would have hated to see him go out like that. There's people that had COVID, that had strokes. They never recovered. They were never the same. I feel like Michael, he gave a lot of people hope. For me, I'm a lot less positive after his death. I'm a lot more negative. I don't believe the things I want can be done politically. I don't think that, learning about Trump, learning about what Trump did with the masks, with BARDA, that they didn't have enough and they were warned about it, did nothing about it for months, and how they fired the guy that told about it. It's just, it just, for me, I have very little hope that the things he talked about could ever happen. I think that bashing gay people is more important than, for many people, an honest wage, a safe working environment. I think that being able to look down on people is more important than the things that matter. I think that much of society really is that dumbed down by now. That just gay bashing and things of that nature are I think that you got numbskulls like Trump, but if you had real people on the right who really knew about the issues and really were on point, we'd have a big problem. I think America is a lot more vulnerable to that type of ideology than we think. So for me, I don't have that positivity I did in 2020. We watched wildfires in Siberia. We watched Harvey, where they got 10% of all the rain in a few hours. The whole year, 10% of that for that couple hours. We're watching now water that's over 100 degrees on the coast of Florida. I'm sorry. I don't have that positive outlook anymore that there is a positive outcome. I wish I didn't feel that way. I wish that wasn't the case. I mean, the more things have come out about the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, that we knew, that they knew the wars weren't going well, that Trump knew the wars weren't going well, that here you had, Trump, I guess, kind of covered it up a little bit so there'd be less information coming out of the war zones. But from Bush, Obama, and Trump, they knew the wars were not going well. To have learned that Ronald Reagan told the Iranians during the crisis where they had hostages over there, telling them to wait until he became president before they'd get a better compromise from him. That's treason. Learning about it is a reminder that this is what the right does. They've always been this way. They've always played dirty. This isn't something that's happened. They've always played dirty. We can just find it out quicker now. To me, learning about these things, like I said, in the period after his death, I have a lot more confidence or hope of a better society. I think that looking at Michael gave me hope, maybe, that socially things get better. So Michael was very clear that when he said work is writ large, that's all we have. He's very clear about that. That when it comes to the media, when it comes to money, when it comes to the military, when it comes to a force, we'd always lose. Talk about the New World Order. He talked about the Atlas Project. That's your New World Order. That they had right-wing money they would use to back up fascist dictators and things of that nature. He was very clear about these things. He talked about climate change in depth. I do miss his concise, his clear, his accurate perspective on breaking news, on things that's happening. There are times Even now, that I'll go home and I'll be like, man, I can't wait to see what he thinks. Oh wait, there's times briefly, it'll like, oh man, I want to Michael Brooks think about this shit. Let me see what he think. No, because he's gone. He's off the scene. So for me, I just I miss him. You know, I look at Vaush, others, but Michael was in a league of his own. And we are all lesser on the left. We are all lesser when we lose bright folks like that. Thanks for listening.